Welcome in, sports fans, sports bettors. Another episode here on Sports by the Book at the South Point Studio. I'm Alex White. To my left, professional sports bettor Kenny White. We're looking forward to another episode with you. Here's kind of the rundown. We're going to go through some college football games, looking ahead to Thursday's game, 2 on Friday. We'll break down the Major League Baseball slate, pretty much go through every one of those games. And then we will talk WNBA. There are 3 great games on the board. And then we will finish it off with the NFL Thursday night football game, Bills versus Dolphins. I'm looking forward to that one. Dad, how are you doing this morning? Happy Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday to you, Alex. Every day is different, obviously. Today, I think my word is aggravation already this morning. I hope my day gets better as it goes. Traffic was miserable. I caught every red light and tried to make a couple of, I'm a pretty aggressive driver, so I will. If I'm going straight and I'm the first one to get to the light, I'll try to get to the right lane to make a right, go down the street, make a U-turn, and make another right. So I beat all the traffic. So I did that this morning today on Warm Springs, and as I make the right, I look and go, oh, no, they're doing construction. Oh. So it put me behind about 5 minutes. It was the wrong move I made this morning, and I made them time and time again. I go to the bank, wanted to take some cash out, and I needed some 10s because I had to pay for an ice skating practice this morning, and I hit the 10 thing, and all of a sudden, here comes all these $10 bills out. I was thinking it was going to break it down and give me some 10s, not all 10s. Oh. So yeah, I'm 100 10s on me. Anybody need a 10? I have one. And then I was driving out of the parking lot, and I hear something on my back tire. I'm like, oh no, don't tell me I have a back tire. Besides, my phone is acting up, and it has been since last Monday here. I plug in the charger, and it tells me, unplug this because there's moisture in the connection. There's no moisture. It's been happening, and it happens on and off. So I need to go to the Samsung store. Stormy's dad and I had lunch 2 weeks ago, and he's got this phone, and it's a Samsung. He's been an iPhone guy forever, and he goes to the store to get a new phone, and the guy shows him this Samsung that folds and it opens up. And when it opens up, it's got a very big screen. It's almost like a TV. It's really not that much bigger than the phone I have. So he kind of talked me into this phone, and I haven't had the time to go. Been putting it off since last Monday, hoping the phone gets better. But today was so much aggravation. Every time I plugged it in to try to charge it, it's got this bing, bing, bing sound. And oh my gosh, it was so aggravating. And my phone's dying. So I felt like I was getting a flat tire. My phone's dying. I got 100 10s on my pocket, and I'm almost late to pick up Riley from ice skating to get her to school, to get here to the South Point. So my morning was kind of a little bit crazy, and I'm hoping the day gets a lot better. But it is already. I'm here today with you.
So listen, once your phone does not hold a charge, that is a definite have to get to the store, get a new phone, because it is not going to get better.
So I shouldn't put it off for a couple months?
Nope. Let's get that done today. And I'm glad you said Riley's ice skating lesson, because there was a joke in there. I looked at Keith because you left that kind of empty. You said I had to pay for ice skating this morning.
It was me. I'm taking ice skating lessons. And, so, yeah, who knows? Hey, maybe I have a shot at the Olympics.
Maybe. You never know. And they're adding more sports
the over 60 Olympics ice skating. The champion. And maybe it'll be me and Will Ferrell will both be in it. Because I've seen him skateboard. He's really good.
Yes, he is. Very good movie, Blades of Glory. All right, well, let's get into it.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes, it was.
So I was on your show.
I would love to talk sports, all sports-related stuff. And I did watch that NFL game. Very impressed by the 49ers. No CMC. Mason jumped in, had a great game, 147 rushing yards for him. And the 49ers look like a well-oiled machine going into this year, and I know they were your top team.
What do you think the fine's going to be for the 49ers?
Oh.
For not telling the truth about CMC? Because Mason, at the end of the game, they asked him, when did you know you were going to start? And I'm sure they probably told, oh, please don't do that. He knew Friday night. And the rest of the world finds out on Monday. Come on, that should have been on the injury report. He is now doubtful or out for the game, and I'm hoping 49ers should get a large fine for that, and I'm sure they will. And because that's why there is an injury list, because they want to be transparent.
Right.
The 49ers are not being transparent and letting us know. But I will say 49ers looked like the best team in the NFL by at least 3 or 4 points. And that's my team. And again, I was very conservative. I could have made them 5 points better than everybody else. After last night's performance, their rating is going up again.
I just hope that it doesn't fall back on Mason and him get in any trouble, but I don't think he will. But I didn't like how the other reporter tried to double down on it and ask him again later, after we all clearly knew in that moment when he kind of hesitated and said Friday. That wasn't the best look.
He doubled down. The reporter did. I didn't catch that.
In the presser later, yes.
In the presser later.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah. I just watched the interview after the game.
Yeah, with Lisa.
Okay. Yeah. I was trying to finish. I was doing my college football projected scores for all the games for the final for the year, and then I looked at my sheet for week 3, and I had no unders and several overs, and I can't have that. So I went back to look at my projection or my equations, and I didn't like what I had my number at to formulate that total. So I made an adjustment on it, and it brought every total down just a point. I probably have to make another adjustment next week and then bring it down another point, because scoring continues to come down and down and down because the defenses continue to get better in both college and the NFL. And the only thing that'll bring scoring back up now is a rule change.
Well, let's go ahead and dive into a couple of the college football games that we have kicking off week 3. We have a good one on Thursday night. Arizona State goes to Texas State. 2 teams that have been quite a bit of a surprise in a good way, right? Arizona State was expected to have a little bit of a down year. Leavitt there at quarterback. And then Texas State has looked very good to start. Arizona State, -1.5. They did open a 2-point favorite. The bettors seem to like the dog there, which I did allude to yesterday with Chris Andrews in here. Anything for you or any initial thoughts in this game? I know you really broke down the 2 Friday games.
Yeah, this one will give you Arizona State's Kenny Dillingham. It's his second year there at Arizona State. Went 3-9 last year. He's an OC, he's an offensive guy. Was at Oregon. Before that, he was at Memphis, some high-flying attacks. He is very inventive on offense, and they're going to be good. And they got a running back named Scatabo, who had a big game last week versus Mississippi State. I had their quarterback, Sam Leavitt, about an average college quarterback. So I don't think the talent at quarterback is that great for Arizona. We'll see what Dillingham can do with Leavitt, and if he can continue to improve him. Wyoming, not a very good football team. They beat them up in week 1. Wyoming had a lot of injuries. They are very well coached, and I expect them to improve during the season as the season goes. Mississippi State on the other side, new head coach, because, we lost Mike Leach, and it's a program that lost a lot of players. They are one of the weaker teams in the SEC, and Arizona State was the better team. Mississippi State couldn't stop the run. Scatabo got over 200 rushing yards. But if you look the week before that against Wyoming, he just had 48. So it's not like he's going to do that every single game. On the other side, I will tell you, Texas Tech has a coach named G.J. Kinney, and Kinney is an A coach. He's in my top 20 already, just 3 years of coaching. This is his 3rd year as a head coach. He was an immaculate, incarnate word, went 12-2 there in his first year. Brought that program to new heights. And at Texas State last year, after 4 bad years in a row, he won 8 games last year, and he's upgraded the talent in this program. This game has been circled on their calendar as probably one of the biggest games of the year. Arizona State comes off a win over an SEC team, and they play their first Big 12 game next week versus Texas Tech.
And then, of course, they get Jordan McLeod as quarterback, comes over from James Madison. Curious on where you have him rated compared to an average college quarterback.
McLeod, that's a great question, Alex, because I like this kid a lot, and he's really good quarterback. I have him 8 points better than the average college quarterback. Remember, go back to Sam Leavitt. I have him 1 point better than average. So a huge edge for Texas State at quarterback.
All right, I'm looking forward to that game. I will be watching it Thursday as well as the NFL game, of course. And remember to stick around with us here for the next 50 minutes. The last 10 minutes or so, we will break down as the Bills.
I'm here for another 50 minutes?
You are here for another 50 minutes.
I don't have that many jokes. Keith, can you write me some jokes up? Thanks,
We'll keep checking the comment section on our YouTube channel, see if Keith throws any good jokes in there. He already is. Looking forward to UNLV versus Kansas on Friday. We'll see what they're made of. I think this game will be very telling for both of these two teams, and we're going to get into that right now. Really quick, though, please follow us on all of our social media pages. We've got Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, and Facebook, so you can find us at Sports by the Book. On Instagram, it is at Sports by the Book LV. Again, please subscribe to the YouTube channel as well. 10 shows a week on Sports by the Book, 7 in the morning, and then 3 great evening shows, Football Frenzy. All right, back to college football. Kenny White to my left. I am Alex White. We are going into the Friday games, and you should feel good about this because we are on opposite sides. Because Kansas host UNLV. We know that is my alma mater. I'm not going to bet the side. I'm just not as confident in you that Kansas can cover this spread. They're a 7-point favorite at home, total 57. I'll let you start off with the side here and why you are leaning towards the Jayhawks if you have not already bet it.
Love Lance Leopold. Their head coach is a tremendous coach. 5 national championships at Wisconsin Whitewater. I don't care what level you're at. When you dominate the way he did, 109-6 was his record there. He goes to Buffalo, school in the MAC that was not very good. His first couple of years, it took him some time, and it takes guys time. And if the administration knows he's good, they'll let him go. Because if you go back and look at Coach K at Duke, he didn't win his first 3 years. It took him 4 years to finally build the program, and his 4th year wasn't great. It was over 50% finally, but from then on, Duke was a dominating program. At Buffalo, 5 wins, 2 wins, 6 wins. His first 3 years there, he won 13 games, and the program had only won 12 the 3 years prior to that, so it wasn't very good. The cupboard was bare. He built the talent up, and he went 24-10 his last 3 years at Buffalo, one of the best 3-run stretches in the history of the school. He gets hired at Kansas. You know what? Kansas was down in the dumps. They've always have been. They've been a laughing stock of college football for probably almost 50 years now. And he's done a remarkable job bringing this program back to life and breathing life into it. So this guy's a great coach. He lost last week in a revenge game for the Illini against another solid coach in Brett Bielema. He had the lead late, 17-13 going to the 4th, lost 23-17. His offense is outstanding. They put up over 30 points per game the last 2 years. And the defense, they improved it last year. They allowed 33.8 in his second year, just 25.8 last year. He's only allowed 13 points a game so far this year. This game will be a little different because Barry Odom has done a very nice job at UNLV. Great coach. Glad we finally got a coach that can – there's been talent here. That was the problem. Every year, every coach would make the excuse here in Las Vegas. We don't have the talent. We don't have the talent. I disagreed with that every single year. I saw the players, where they came from. 3-star guys is all you need because you can turn 3-star guys into 4 stars, and every once in a while you'll turn one of those guys into a 5-star. They had plenty of talent, plenty of size, plenty of speed. They just never had a coach really put it together. Barry Odom has done that, done a tremendous job. And this guy had head coaching experience in Missouri, 4 years there, went 25-25, lost his job. He's a defensive coordinator by trade, but they have been very good on offense. They brought in a Holy Cross transfer, an FCS transfer, Matthew Sluka. Sluka's very accurate. He didn't start accurate so far this year, but he is an accurate quarterback and has good arm strength. He's thrown 64 touchdowns in his career. They put up a lot of points last year, 36 a game last year. They did lose their quarterback who transferred to SC, but Sluka, I think, fills in. He's 5 points better than the average college quarterback. Kansas's Daniels is 8 points better than the average college quarterback, and he's been off to a bad start. I expect both these guys to get better on Thursday night.
Very good. So that means it may be a little bit of a lean to the over, even though I know you are adjusting your totals. That would be the lean for me. I made it 6.5 with Kansas. Just a couple reservations for me, and I'll let you speak on this. But Jalen Daniels, it's his 5th or 6th year here at Kansas. He is a great quarterback. If you look at his numbers, yes, last year he did not play every game, but completed 75% of his passes. 9.4 yards per pass. So very good. We know that about him and his accuracy. I don't know if maybe he's had one too many injuries. That is one reservation. The other one is there is the revenge factor, and that is the bowl game last year where these two did meet. KU beat UNLV 49-36, December 2023. So adding that in there,
that's definitely a factor. Yeah, it's a factor that Kansas could be overconfident as well, but coming off a loss gives me more confidence that I know Leopold will have his team ready for this game, and it is a short week. And it's a travel week for UNLV. They have less time to prepare for the game, and they're the ones I think that need more time to prepare for this. So, yeah, they're familiar with each other because of the bowl game, and that was a great game. It was so much fun to watch. I'm hoping this game kind of turns out the same way, and these two teams can go up and down the field against each other
with lots of offense, just like we saw last week. I'm with you though. If Kansas would have beat Illinois, I'd be leaning to taking the points here with the Rebels, but I think they will be well prepared for this, and maybe even a little slight look ahead, prepping for this early Thursday game or Friday game. But there is one more game on Friday we are going to get to as well. I don't have anything in this one, but Arizona Wildcats, Fafita at quarterback, still playing just as good. He was a pleasant surprise last year in college football. Really fun to watch. Going to Kansas State, take on the Wildcats. Wildcats 7.5-point favorite here at the South Point. So if you like the dog, that's probably your best number out there. Total 58.
Yeah, Brent Brennan, the new head coach at Arizona, came from San Jose. He's another, I got him an A- coach right now, which is outstanding. Chris Kleiman for Kansas State, another A- coach. He's leaning on A+, or A, just an A, flat out A. His grades continue to get better for me. Looking at his ATS numbers, 40 and 23. Kleiman is at Kansas State. He is a guy that his teams overachieve. He loves the power running game. He's a conservative coach. Control the clock. Keep your defense fresh. Even though they're solid defensively, he's smart. His defenses are always fresh because they do run the football. They control the clock a lot. They wear the other team's defense out late in games. So we'll see how that works out. San Jose, at San Jose, Brennan was kind of the same coach that, he relies on the run game, but he's got a great quarterback that will throw it around. So this is going to be a very good matchup. I didn't have anything on the game. My side and total were right there. Both these teams play the same defense, a 3-3-5, which that's a benefit to the offense because they've seen that defense in practice all the time. So that could be a benefit. Arizona plays a pro spread offense, and Kansas State, they play a spread as well, but the emphasis is on running and is why they spread it out.
Okay, great stuff right there. We do have a question in the chat from John Marshall. What websites to get offensive and defensive numbers? StatFox shut down June 30th. Do you have any suggestions for that?
That's a great point. I do not. I've been just using my own and been thinking about putting a spreadsheet together to kind of match those type of numbers, ATS and offensive numbers. I could probably duplicate what they had in a spreadsheet.
Okay, we'll work on that for you.
I'll let you know tomorrow.
John,
I'm trying to work on it today.
And welcome everybody else in the chat. Not Sean is in there. I mentioned Keith Lyle, John M. Joey B., one of our punchies from Punchline. So welcome everybody. Thank you so much for joining us here on Sports by the Book. That's it for college football. We're going to switch gears. We're going to go over to some Major League Baseball. Things still heating up here. Looking ahead towards the playoffs. You've got a couple differences in a few games that we will get to. And then in about 20 minutes or so, we will talk WNBA and then, of course, the NFL Thursday night football game. So let's kick it off here. Not a great first game on the board. So just tell me if there's any that you want to skip ahead to. But it is the Miami Marlins and the Pittsburgh Pirates. This pitcher, though, and no, I'm looking ahead.
I took the Marlins yesterday. I went against the Pirates.
Should have taken the run and a half.
Hard for me to say in Pittsburgh land right here and at the South Point, but that price was just so high, and I was not sure how deep they would go at Skeens, and thought the kid Blasio for Miami was pitching well enough to keep it close. 3-0 early, but Miami scratched their way back 3-1. They got a run in the ninth, and that's all they got. They came up short, but I played the big dog in that game.
You should have taken the run and a half.
That might have been, a value play there, but did not do that. Should look to do that. I don't look to do that a lot with the visitor. I don't know why. I look more to lay a run and a half with the visitor and take a run and a half with the home team. But
good note.
That might have been a good spot to do that because I did have a lower total as well. So this one I've again leaned to the Marlins here. Offensively, I think these two teams are pretty even. The pitching matchup today, I think, is a even matchup. Pittsburgh going opener. Mudzinski.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's go ahead and look at these next two because these are two very well-known pitchers here. Ronaldo Lopez for the Braves. Washington Nationals will start Mackenzie Gore in that one. The Braves are the favorite, -134 here at the South Point. Total 8 under, -125. Braves coming off a tough 1-0 loss. Anything for you in this one in game one of this series?
Yeah, I like the Braves. They hit lefties extremely well. Lopez has been great this year for them. His numbers overall, median numbers, 6 innings, 4 hits, 1 run, 2 walks, 6 strikeouts. So he's going to get you the 6th, keep you in the game, give you a chance to win. He pitches that type of game today. You know the Braves are going to be on the scoreboard. Gore is a solid, above-average pitcher, but again, I have the advantage offensively, and I believe I have the advantage both in the starting pitching and the bullpen here.
Looking at this next game, not much to play for these two, but they continue to play hard. Cincinnati Reds, St. Louis Cardinals in St. Louis. Now, this Rhett Lauder, number 1 2022 draft pick for the Reds. He'll get the start there, and then Andre Palate for the Cardinals. Looking at that line, we've got Cardinals -127, total 8 again.
Yeah, I was looking there. You know, right now we have about 16, 17 games left in the season. And you're right, Cincinnati 9.5 out. You know, these teams have not been eliminated yet. The Cardinals 6.5 out, but they've got to jump 2 teams to get there. So I don't know if they've given up and quit yet. They're 6-4 in their last 10. Both of these teams are. So I still think they're both playing. I like what I've seen out of Lauder in his 2 starts so far. 4 innings, 2 hits, 1 run, but again, a little wild because guys with inexperience play keep away a little bit. 4 walks, and he does have 6 strikeouts, so it shows he has excellent stuff. The other side, Palente, has been very good for the Cardinals. 5 innings, 4 hits, 1 run, 1 walk, 3 strikeouts. I definitely have him rated 25 cents above the average big league pitcher. So I have advantage with the Cardinals offensively versus a righty at home, and Palente over Lauder here.
To your point, the Cardinals did make some moves before the trade deadline, so they really were playing for that wild card spot, thinking that they still had a chance in this.
You know, it's my 2 favorite organizations are the Cardinals and the Rays, and both of them can make trades and get rid of players and get better because they develop in the minor leagues and they just stockpile talent. They just, you know, sometimes you don't have, it's the pitching. You have to have great starting pitching. They've had some injuries in their rotation.
All right, we're going to look ahead to this next game. We've got the Brewers and the Giants. Aaron Savale for Milwaukee. Is that right, or did I just see a change on that one? Nope, that is right. He is starting. Now, on the odds screen, though, we do not have a starting pitcher for the Giants. You think it is going to be Hayden Birdsong in this one, but the number here at the South Point, Brewers -130 on the road, 7.5 for the total.
Yeah, I made this game $1.70 for the Brewers side. Much better offense when you start to look at their numbers over the last 60 days. They've been 6% better than the average offense on the road versus right-handed pitching. And Savale has been really good with Milwaukee. 6 innings, 4 hits, 2 runs, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts. On the other side, Birdsong, and that's who I do have going, and I think he is going to pitch tonight. My bet would be against Birdsong. I still do use listed pitchers when I bet because so much of my equation is based off the starting pitcher. But Birdsong, last 5 starts, 4 innings, 3 hits, 2 runs, 4 walks. That's 7 base runners in 4 innings. He has struck out 5 guys. So he's got good stuff, but he just doesn't have command of it. Savale, a far better pitcher in this spot for me, and Milwaukee's better offensively. And again, I have to look at the standings, and the Giants right now are 8 out of a wild card spot with 17 to go. So they're still fighting. Brewers, now the one thing I always look at too is in the standings where those teams are, how badly do they need games? Because professional athletes take time off. An 8.5 game lead for the Brewers puts them in a spot where they're pretty comfortable, but they are still kind of playing for home field throughout the playoffs. So it's a team still playing hard. They're a, blue collar lunch pail type of team.
Not to mention the Chicago Cubs are playing very good in the last month or so. So I wouldn't let up too much if I were the Brewers, because this team has been pretty impressive. I mean, they just put it on the Dodgers last night. We're going to get to that game right now. We'll do a couple more, and then we'll take a little break here before we finish the baseball and move to WNBA. But so Cubs, Dodgers, first thing I do when I look at your sheet, I do like to see the starting pitcher rate one after another, and look for the two that are red, which means that they are a higher rated pitcher, good for unders, bad for offense, bad for overs here. So this is the first one that pops up, and then you look at who it is. Shota Imanaga for the Cubs against Yamamoto for the Dodgers. It's going to be fun to see these two in this game tonight. Dodgers a pretty big favorite, minus 155 here at the South Point, total 8 flat.
Yeah, and it's gone down even, Alex. I see 7.5s in the market at a couple places, but I see 8 at a major place, and South Point we're at 7.5 right now.
I think that might be going up, actually. Okay. I think it opened 7.5. Well, no, but I did talk about this at 7 a.m. on Bet the Gambit.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah.
Well, it's hard for me to make Dodger totals low. I had yesterday over. It was very hot once again. 2 days ago on Sunday, it was 103 first pitch. It tied the record for hottest day for a Dodger baseball game at 103 degrees. Did not go over that day, though. Yesterday, it was 86, 87. If you're from Southern California, that's smoking hot. It's humid and it's hot, and the ball carries extremely well in humidity, and it carries well in hot temperatures. So it's cooled down, though. It's not going to be that hot tonight. I think it's 75, 76 degrees. Yamamoto making his comeback off the injured list. I always take 10% off guys that have been out for more than 15 days. You could make a case for taking off almost 15 to 20% for him tonight. We know the Cubs offense has been swinging it.
Yep.
Over the last 60 days. They've been well above average, and the Dodgers as well, one of the best offenses in baseball. So hard for me to make a total that low. I made it 9, but when you have two great pitchers like this, even though, as I mentioned, Yamamoto off some time, I'm not betting it over. If the weather was warm, I would be, but I don't think I'd be getting a 7.5.
Can this be a wait and see after maybe 3 or 4 innings, and then there's no runs scored yet? We can go over a 6.
Yeah, look at both bullpens are pretty decent though. They got good bullpens, but both offenses, for looking at every game today, these are the two best offenses. Well, Kansas City and the Yankees are right there too. So those are the two best hitting games where you have two teams that are consistent offensively.
Well, let's go ahead and let's hit a couple of these American League matchups before we take our break, and then we will get to the Interleague as well. But let's go ahead and talk about the Royals and the Yankees that you just mentioned. Seth Logo has been really good for Kansas City, and on the other side we have Marcus Stroman. In this game, the Yankees minus 140. Total 8.5 over. You also had a New York parlay yesterday with the Yankees and the Mets that did get there. So do you like the Yankees in this one at minus 140?
I made it right on the number. I like Lugo. He's pitched really well for Kansas City this year. ERA 3.05, a whip of 1.11. And when you look at his numbers on the road, 6 2/3 innings. He pitches deep into games. 5.5 hits, only 1 earned run, 1.5 walks, 5 strikeouts. So he's going to keep his team in the game. And this is a solid Royals offense that puts runs on the board for him. And right now they're competing, looking at the standings in the Central, 3.5 games out behind the Guardians. Wow. And then for the wild card, they are locked in the wild card. They have a 2.5 game lead, basically a 5.5 game lead, but over Detroit. But you're never comfortable. You're playing the Yankees. I think you get the Royals' best effort here today. But again, my number right on. I thought the books made a really good adjustment, not making the Yankees too high in this game.
Well, let's go ahead and look at the Orioles and the Red Sox. Boston still playing hard, too. They stole game 1 over the Orioles, who have been struggling as of late. They have Albert Suarez on the mound against Cutter Crawford, who has been good for Boston here. Red Sox minus 132, total 9.
Yeah, really good pitching matchup, Alex. I'm right there on the numbers, though. I had the Red Sox $1.22, raised their offense up a little bit. At home, they're always better than they are on the road because of their ballpark. And I made the total 10 because you have two good hitting teams, but you have two really good pitchers. So this one, I think, goes back and forth. When I look at the numbers home and away, both these guys are solid, and this could be, a 3-2 game after 5, right around there. So I think it's right on the number.
So curious, looking at your offensive numbers for these two teams, because if you're just doing the eye test and watching these games, it appears the Orioles have been struggling. 167 batting average, but then they have a pretty high WRC plus.
Yeah, so they've scored some runs, which is kind of crazy when you look at that number. I'm looking at that number, and that's not the last 3 RC plus. That's their overall season RC plus in that column. So
that makes more sense.
Yeah, that does make more sense there. But that's amazing over for the entire year, a 115 weighted runs created number plus number.
Well, they were leading that division for a while, and now have just kind of fallen back. They're sitting pretty comfortably in the number 1 wild card spot, but would like to see Baltimore continue to or get some more consistency right now.
Yeah, no doubt. This is a good team. Their offense has carried them all year. The pitching rotation has been decimated by injuries. So when you're looking at guys like Suarez and Kramer trying to step up and get this team to the finish line, we'll see if they maybe get healthy when the playoffs start.
2 more for the American League, and then we'll take a quick break here. But we have the Angels and the Twins. Canning going for LA, and for Minnesota, we have Lopez on the mound. The Angels have not given up, win another one yesterday, but still Minnesota minus 240 in this one, total 8.
Yeah, and it should be high. I made it 265. You have a huge edge offensively because the Angels struggle versus right-handed pitching and good right-handed pitching, and this is a great spot for Lopez. I could make a case for the Angels team total under tonight. Okay. That would be my bet there. Again, I love to bet under, so I'm looking at that spot, and it could be a spot that you lay a half a run with the Twins in the first 5 innings. I just don't think the Angel bats can hit Lopez here in this spot.
Up to you if you want to touch on this game, or we can skip it. Cleveland at Chicago take on the White Sox here. You have Alex Cobb going, but it is Ben Lively, who has been one of the Guardians' best pitchers this season. Cannon on the other side. Big number, though, on the road. Guardians minus 230, total 8.
Well, I look at this game, and the offenses are just so bad. The White Sox hit lefties. Oh, look at that. Keith's got his White Sox jersey on. I don't know how he wears that. He should get a paper bag, too, to walk around with punch holes in it. Both the Guardians, I've been saying this for all year long. They're doing it with smoke and mirrors. I mean, I love their lineup that they bat 9 lefties, but when you start to break down the numbers, what they've done this year offensively, it's been bad as of late. So I just don't get it how they put up runs and how they've won so many games. I guess I get it. Their pitching staff has been tremendous. So I'm looking at 2 teams that I have well below average offensively. 2 guys that are pitching well. I do like Jonathan Cannon, what I've seen out of him so far this year. And you look at his median numbers at home, 5 innings, 5 hits, does allow 3 runs, 2 walks, 4 strikeouts. So he's not a guy that's against the average team. Now he's thrown against an Indian or Guardian lineup that I think's below average. So my number, Alex, on this game, when I had Cobb on the mound, which I think he's about equal to Ben Lively. I really like Alex Cobb. He's got great stuff. I made the total 7. We're looking at 8 over. Got to get 9 runs to beat me. I will go under in this game.
Okay, under in this one for the Guardians and the White Sox. I like it. One more in the American League. Oakland at Houston. Arrighetti on the mound for the Astros. Minus 185 is that number for the home team. 8.5 flat is the total.
The A's are like the surprise team of the second half. I mean, maybe of the entire season, because they were the laughingstock of baseball, and leaving Oakland to come to Las Vegas, and it's a 5-year transition to get here. It's a long way to drive by covered wagon, but they're hitting the ball, they're swinging it. They're a really good offensive team, and Beto has pitched great. His numbers are tremendous when you start to look at what he's done. A whip of 109. He really has great stuff, and I thought the price is too high. I've been on the A's almost every day for the last 3 or 4 weeks now. I feel like they're a really quality baseball team, well above average offense. They got a great closer. Their bullpen's been steady. So, yeah, I lean to the A's here in this one. I'm betting baseball very small and made a half unit play because I got plus a price with them.
I like that plus price. It's really fun to watch, too, because a lot of those guys in that lineup have played here at the Las Vegas ballpark. We're going to take a quick break. When we get back, we're going to do the interleague games. We've got 5 on deck for you. There's 3 WNBA games. We'll give our thoughts on those. And then we still have to break down Thursday night football between the Buffalo Bills and the Miami Dolphins. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back. Thank you for watching Sports by the Book. We'll be back in 2 minutes.
We have 11 amazing restaurants featuring a wide variety for every price range and appetite. South Point's Garden Buffet has something for everyone at unbeatable prices. Or, if hunger strikes in the middle of the night, join us at Coronado Cafe. The American menu offers breakfast, lunch, or dinner 24 hours a day, plus a Chinese kitchen for authentic Chinese dishes from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. From steak and eggs to wonton soup, it's fast and friendly service 24/7. When you need a quick pick-me-up, you can find it at our state-of-the-art Starbucks just inside the main South Point entrance. Order ahead with the Starbucks app for easy mobile order pickups. Or enjoy your favorites in the relaxing dining area anytime, day or night. If you love Mexican food, Baja Miguel's has all of your south-of-the-border favorites. There are dozens of classics to choose from, like fajitas, ceviche, chimichangas, tacos, and more. And for spirit lovers, Baja's colorful non-smoking tequila bar is right outside. Or maybe you're in the mood for seafood. Big Sur Oyster Bar has fresh seafood prepared right before your eyes. Savor freshly shucked oysters, crab legs jambalaya, shrimp and lobster. Beers on tap and a selection of fine wines are perfect to pair with your seafood favorite. Whether lunch or dinner, you'll love this fun atmosphere, located just off the casino floor. Ready to shake things up? Step back in time and treat yourself to one of the oldest restaurant chains in the country. Steak and Shake, famous for original mouth-watering steak burgers and hand-dipped milkshakes in a variety of flavors. For some old-fashioned fun, try Steak and Shake.
Here we go. Thanks so much for being with us here on Sports by the Book. Please make sure and subscribe to the YouTube channel. 10 great shows weekly, 7 in the morning, 3 great evening shows, Sports by the Book, Football Frenzy with Jeff Parles and company. All right, we're going to break down the last 5 baseball games. We still have WNBA to get to, and then we will touch on Thursday night football with the Bills and the Dolphins. If you can't tell, I'm pretty excited about that one and to get there. Alex White, Kenny White, here we go. We've got about 20 more minutes here with you. Going to Philadelphia, Tampa Bay, and the Phillies. Taj Bradley on the mound for the Rays and Ranger Suarez for the Phillies. Philadelphia minus 165 in this one. Total 7.5 under.
Really good pitching matchup, Alex. I have both guys rated above average. Suarez has had a really nice year once again for the Phillies. 6 innings, 5 hits, 1.5 runs, 1 walk, 6 strikeouts. Just a workman-like performance. And at home, I think it even gets better. Almost identical numbers, but he only allows 1 earned run in his starts. When you go 6 innings, 5 hits, 1 run, 1 walk, 6 strikeouts, that's as good as it gets in Major League Baseball. So this guy's got really good stuff. Contact rate, the exit velocity is low. Hard to barrel him up, and he's just got great experience. The Philadelphia Phillies are playing good. When I say all that, Tampa, I mentioned as an organization, they sold pieces and, they're giving up on the race to get there, but they still have a really good lineup. And Taj Bradley's got great stuff. His whip, 1.22, his xFIP over his last 3 games, 3.33. And he's gonna give you on the road 6 innings, 5 hits, 2 runs, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts. So he's going to keep his team in the game. He's going to give them a chance to win. Philadelphia, again, this is a team that a lot of people are going to bet today. They're going to parlay the run line with the Phillies. But when you look at where they're at right now in the standings, We know how the Braves have faltered. The Mets are in second place, 7 games out. So when you have a 7-game lead, tend to take it easy a little bit, and you kind of go into coast mode, I think, to get to the playoffs, because this team feels like they're a for surefire playoff team. When you look at the numbers projected to be a playoff team, Philadelphia Phillies are about 99% in everyone's model. So teams like that scare me, whether we're going to get their best effort every day.
Phillies did win game 1, 2-1 yesterday. So it sounds like you're leaning a little bit towards taking that plus money with the Rays, or at least that the price is wrong with Phillies minus 165.
Yeah, my number's just, it's not that high in this game because of, again, I do like the Rays bats. And the Phillies have actually struggled a little bit versus righties at home, where they've done a much better job against left-handed pitching.
Good stuff right there. Let's go to Detroit Tigers. You mentioned they're still kind of hanging around there for that wild card spot. Colorado Rockies send Blaylock to the mound, and then Montero on the other side. Detroit minus 175 in this one, total 8.5 flat.
Yeah, how good has the Central been? That's why the White Sox are so bad, because the Central is so good. Everybody's beating up on them in the division. Maybe that's why everybody has a good record in that division, but we're quite possibly have 3 teams in the playoffs from this division, and the Tigers are right now 3 out behind the Twins. So they're playing extremely hard every day. Their offense is good. Kreider has pitched decent enough to keep them in games. Rockies always struggle on the road. So this matchup, again, I don't have that big of a price, though, in the game, because the Detroit lineup has not put up numbers, and I'm not a big Kreider fan. So I do lean a little bit to the Rockies here, only because of the price. When they say we're betting teams or prices in this game, I would be betting the price, because I don't like to lay favorites, and I'm getting a really big price against the Detroit team, who's really an average baseball team.
And the total sitting right there at 8.5 looks like the right number. Looking at yours, 3 more on the board. New York Mets. We've got David Peterson on the bump against Toronto Blue Jays. Chris Bassett will go for them. Mets, small road favorite, minus 117, 8 under, minus 115 in this game. Do you like the Mets again tonight?
There's something I'm going to add to my baseball equation. And I used to do this years ago. And then once I started putting my power ratings out every day for purchase, I added in the streaks. First of all, I didn't add in streaks. My numbers was the raw numbers. And I felt like streaks are that 25% of the scientific part of the game, that you're science and you're thinking behind the logic of a bet. Well, I decided to add that in there because I talked about it so much. So I added the streak, but I didn't add last 10, last 20, last 30, which I used to use. And I need to go back to that, because one of my clients sent me an email one day and said, shouldn't you use kind of like Bill James's temperature?
Right.
I had never have seen that in my life. For all the numbers and all the equations that I have read through in a lot of books, and I have read Bill James's book, I never really saw the temperature. If I did, I forgot all about it. And he brought up a good point. He says, just because a team lost a game, if they were coming off a 7-game winning streak, you were adding 35 cents for that 7-game winning streak. And now all of a sudden, because they lost, you're adding nothing. Shouldn't there be still some type of factor that they were 7-1 their last 8 games? And I said, oh my gosh, I used to add in last 10, last 20, last 30, smaller breakdowns. And I went over and I did a little bit of math, and I came up with a kind of a mood number for a team and how their mood is and how hot their mood is or how cold their mood is. I haven't had a chance to add that into the sheet. The Mets mood is extremely solid, very high. It's probably worth still about 30, 35 cents. And if I was using that mood number, I would make the Mets a favorite here, but I don't have that big of a difference. The Mets lineup versus righties, I've got equal to what the Blue Jays put on the field versus right-handed pitching. So my number wasn't that high. There's no way I could bet Toronto or bet against the Mets here. I'm just going to pass. I do lean to the over, though, because I like the way the Mets have been swinging the bats.
That was a really good breakdown. I'm glad that you did bring that up, because if you are looking at your sheet, you do see Toronto as the small favorite on yours, but adding in all of that, because I brought up yesterday too, the Mets were like 15-5 in their last 20. They won again yesterday, so we will have to check out that actual last 10 and see
Toronto
what we have.
3-8. So I'm adding points for a high mood for the Mets. Their mood is really good. I could call it a vibe factor, that the Mets have a really good vibe. I've been trying to find a word, what I can call mine, because I didn't want to call it temperature because it's not exactly Bill James's equation. It's mine. So thanks, Alex. It's now a vibe factor.
I don't think I don't know if I helped you with that, but
I'm going to use that tomorrow. I'm going to work on. I have to work on StatFox stats
for
college football and the NFL. I can do both.
Please.
And a vibe factor for Major League Baseball teams. That's going to be on my sheet tomorrow.
Please keep the comments coming. And remember, you have to subscribe to the YouTube channel to be in the live chat. It takes about 5 minutes. Nick said he's still mad at the Orioles, so he must have bet them over the Red Sox. But you said Boston at home. You got to be careful with that one. We have 2 more on the board. Really good pitching matchups here in these 2. Rangers, Nathan Eovaldi, Diamondbacks, Zach Gallen. Diamondbacks minus 165 in this one. Total 8 under minus 125. I wish you had the vibe number for the Diamondbacks as well.
Yeah, I wish I did too, but it doesn't matter. I'm betting the Diamondbacks. I've been betting them every game for the last 3 weeks. Again, I've been betting the A's every day, and I've been betting the Diamondbacks every day. And they have been the hottest team in baseball over the last 60 days. Their numbers every time I pull the charts for last 60 days, Arizona's offense comes at the top, even ahead of the Yankees. And then you get a guy like Zach Gallen, who's a great home pitcher. You're going to have to make him the favorite. Now, the Rangers, we know, World Series champs. Who'd they beat? Arizona Diamondbacks. So I think it's a big game for the Diamondbacks to, get a little revenge. And you're right, the mood factor, the vibe factor is higher in Diamondbacks than it is for the Rangers. And yet I still made the Diamondbacks $2.30, so we can lay $1.40 here.
Love it. Now, are you more surprised with the Diamondbacks being just as good, if not better, than the team we saw make a run and play the Rangers in the World Series? Are you more surprised with that, or are you more surprised with the fall-off that we have seen from the Texas Rangers this year?
I'm surprised about the fall-off because it's still a very good team. Now, they did have, no Jacob deGrom and no Max Scherzer for most of the year. You add those 2 guys into the mix, they win a lot of baseball games like the Guardians have. Just sheer pitching,
right,
can get you to the finish line, but they haven't had that this year, so that hurts. And they've spent a lot of money on 2 great pitchers, and if they had those guys 1 and 2 punch, the Rangers we'd be talking about right now as a playoff team.
Absolutely. One last great pitching matchup here. Yu Darvish for the Padres. Seattle has George Kirby on the bump. I talked about this one earlier in your show. I like the Padres here with that plus money. I have to assume you'll agree with me because looking at your number, you do have them as a favorite here. At the South Point, though, Mariners minus 116, total 7 flat.
They've continued to get better and better all year, the Padres. Their offensive numbers keep going up for me. And I made some adjustments. You said to me one day, how come you have the Padres offense so low? And I went back and looked and I said, yeah, I'm using a lot of stuff from last year and maybe I shouldn't be. And this was probably in the early August. And I kept losing against the Padres and got tired of it. So I changed my equation to just 2024's numbers. And that improved the Padre offense, but not enough for me. So I have gone back and now have adjusted to the last 60 to 90 days, which I think is much more important and more telling of what a team is. And now they've got Tatis back in the lineup. This is a really good lineup. I have a big edge there over Seattle. Darvish has been great all year. I do love George Kirby, but Darvish on the road this year has been lights out. And he's pitching in a pitcher's ballpark. So I like the Padres. I did bet this team plus 106 last night.
You talked about in the American League, how good is the West? In the National League, in the American League, how good is the Central? In the National League, how good is the West? Of course, you have the Dodgers at the top, but then you have the Padres and the Diamondbacks right there. We will probably have 3 teams from that division in the playoffs.
Yeah, and rightfully so. Those are 3 of the hottest teams in baseball. When you look at how good the Dodgers are, the Padres and Diamondbacks have played better than the Dodgers over the last 60 days. So they may be taking a little bit more momentum into the playoffs than the Dodgers do. And people say, well, can you take momentum into the playoffs? I don't know if it's momentum more, I like teams that are playing playoff competition the last month of the season to get there. NBA. I love the 8 seed against the 1 seed because the 8 seed is always, they're playing playoff games every day, and the 1 seed's kind of cruising home. I'm obviously not betting to win the series, but I'm taking a lot of points with that number 8 seed. Same thing in baseball. I like these teams that are fighting for the playoffs in September than the teams like the Phillies or the Brewers who may be cruising home here. Dodgers aren't cruising because they've had competition all year long. They still have a 5.5 game lead, though.
Talking about playoffs and teams fighting for their playoff spot, it's coming down to the wire here for the WNBA. It's kind of a shame that this season goes all the way into football because now, of course, the attention moves to college football and NFL. But these teams are still playing really hard. We have 2 who are eliminated. The Dallas Wings are now knocked out, and the Los Angeles Sparks. 3 teams fighting for a spot in Chicago Sky, Atlanta Dream, and the Washington Mystics. Top team in the league right now, New York Liberty, who has looked fantastic this entire 2024 season.
They really have. I bet the Liberty last year. I watched this team, and I thought they were the best team in the W, but the Aces prevailed. I thought it was a better coaching matchup. I thought Becky Harmon did a great job for the Aces last year. And they have talent. I believe they're number 1 and 2 in the league in my power ratings last year. And the Aces were slightly better, but I was getting a better plus price with the Liberty. I felt that they had a great chance because the Aces had some injuries in that championship. But this year, it's been all Liberty.
Yep.
They've been good from start to finish. The Aces have played like they're 2-time champs and, maybe a little bit of a big head walking into the building every day. So, they had injuries as well, though, early, and they've had more injuries. And now we got to worry about Asia Wilson and her sprained ankle. So we'll figure that out. But come playoff time, I'm probably going to be an Aces fan because if they have everyone in the lineup, they're going to be a little undervalued because of the regular season. We have to give them a big plus mark for playoff experience. So it looks like to me again, it'll be Aces and Liberty in the finals as long as the Aces are healthy.
Well, Asia can just take over a basketball if need be. So as long as she is healthy, that is huge. But I remember you circling the Liberty and saying it's going to take some time for this team to mesh. But look at the stars with Stewie and Jones and Sabrina Ionescu. And now we're seeing that this year. They're really a fun team to watch. But we'll get into these 3 games today. Get your thoughts. I have a couple opinions as well and a play that I really like. So Minnesota Lynx at Atlanta. The Lynx are 5.5-point favorites on the road. The total is 156. Minnesota is going for the season sweep, so they have beaten Atlanta 3 times already this year. I have this game 4 with the Lynx. Lean a little bit towards Atlanta. They are playing for that 8th playoff spot. Minnesota, though, 3 games back, I believe, from New York. So they're still trying to play for that number 1 seed. So it's going to be a tough one here. Come down to the wire.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Minnesota has really the surprise team. Their coach will get coach of the year this year. When you look at the standings, they're second. They're 3 games behind the Liberty. They have a team that will lock you down on defense, especially at home. On the road, their games are a little bit higher scoring, but you mentioned the revenge factor for Atlanta. It's a bigger game for them. They have their back to the wall. They're 1 game behind the Chicago Sky here. I think you get a great game from Atlanta here tonight, and but it's so hard to go against Minnesota. I'm not handicapping this league. I'm using your grandfather's numbers. He gives them to me every day, and I bet these games for us. But he made the game 4. It's 5.5. We really had no play there. He expected a defensive game at 158. It has gone down, so we didn't bet this game, but I do lean to the Dream here.
I'll try and wait and see if I can get more points. I would love to have at least 8 in this one with the home
you're not going to
team.
get that.
In game. If Minnesota goes up a little bit.
I like that strategy. If Minnesota goes up early in this game, you could get some points here. You're right. From the Dream, especially at home. They're a really solid team.
They are, and they dealt with a lot of injuries. Now they are healthy and looking a lot better. New York Liberty in Dallas. I just brought it up. Dallas is now eliminated, so we have to be careful. New York -10 on the road, total 174.5. We like this over.
Yeah, but it's gone up. I went over 170.5 last night. Grandpa Pete's number 178 on the game. And, the Liberty just beat the Aces again. And it was a game they had a big lead. The Aces made a big comeback. The Liberty lost the lead, and then they got it back, hit a 3. They win the game at the free throw line. Emotional win, and Dallas has been eliminated from the playoffs. And you start to look at so a meaningless game for Dallas now. You start to look at their scores. They have no defense. They don't play any defense. Give up 92, 107, 90, 100 in their last 4 games. I think the Liberty comes out, then they have a fun game. That the intensity is not going to be there defensively. They're going to go up and down the court, and they're going to score, and there should be a lot of points. But you lose a ton of value now. I don't suggest going over. I suggest, again, in-game maybe, that maybe they get off to a slow start, and they miss shots early. They miss 3-pointers that should go, and it's 4-2 after the first 3 minutes. And now you're going to get a much better number at 168 or 169. Hit it over at that point, because it shouldn't be adjusted, and it will be.
And if they can't miss, you just have to walk away from that game.
You're right. If they can't miss and they don't miss, you say, well, I missed that one. They're going to sing the national anthem tomorrow as well.
We have to make sure, too, Arike Ogunbowale is playing, and Sabali for Dallas, 2 of their top scorers who have just been fantastic for the Wings down the stretch. Last one on the board, Connecticut Sun, minus 11.5 total, 158.5. Has gone down a little bit, and support here for the Sun. It was minus 9.5 yesterday, which I do agree with. I made them a 9.5 point favorite, but I wouldn't be laying that here on the road.
Yep, your grandfather made the game 9 and 157. There was no play. This game has moved up to 12, I see.
Yes.
There's 10s out there still. Probably going to lay that 10 if I can get a middle going. Always say in sports betting that to win, you really need something going for you. And kind of if you can find middles every now and then, you should bet as many middles as you possibly can that has value, because that's something you have going for you that you can make some money on the side doing as well, just besides your normal handicap.
We'll have to break that down a little bit later. So that's a tease for a later episode.
I have a lot to do today,
Well,
first of all,
today.
I have to go to the Verizon store to get a new phone, because my phone is acting up since last Monday.
That's top priority.
I think it got a virus here in the studio.
No, that's a top priority, and you need to work on the offensive and defensive numbers for some of our people in here. Thank you so much for watching. Please join us again tomorrow. I'm sorry. I know I teased that we were going to talk about the NFL Thursday night football game. We ran out of time. We're going to have to talk about that tomorrow. We'll be heavy NFL tomorrow, because we'll have all the numbers done. We'll give you each of our top 10 power rating teams going into week 2, break down the Thursday night football game, and maybe even a couple Sunday games that we like on the board. Thank you for everybody who is watching, who is commenting. Please share this social media channel, Sports by the Book. We'd like to get our subscribers up if possible. But now that's enough from me. Let's go to Ryan McCormick, who will be producing a very funny show here at noon at the South Point studio.
Well, I'm going to need you guys to get me on the right side of the middle. Just a little...
You're going to lay the 10.
Yeah. But today on Punchlines, we will have the play-by-play voice of the UNLV Rebels, as well as the Las Vegas Aviators. Matt Neverett will join us at noon on Punchlines, at PunchlinesFN on YouTube. We will be talking stuff in the NFL, stuff in Major League Baseball, stuff in the WNBA, and some more stuff from around the sporting world. So you're going to have to tune in at noon for all the fun that we're going to have with Matt Neverett, Frank Nicotero, and myself on Punchlines FN.
Always a lot of fun. Make sure you go over to the Punchlines FN channel here on YouTube. Thank you so much for being with us. Thank you to everybody in the back, Andrew, Sean, Caden, Ryan, and Keith Lyle over here. Big team today. For Kenny White, I'm Alex White. This is Sports by the Book. We will be back tomorrow, 9 a.m. And if you want a little preview of what we will talk about, you can go to Kenny White Bet the Gambit. He will be on at 7 a.m. We've got a lot of shows for you here going on. Thank you so much. We appreciate you. Please like, share, and subscribe. Tell some friends about Sports by the Book. We'll see you tomorrow.